Okay. My next question is, this is not on the list, but it's just struck me again that you're in a quite interesting position because you are still a student.
Yeah.
So you're doing your masters.
Yeah.
You started doing this before you even came to university.
And to be honest, what happened was I was in the University of South Africa at a point in time. But because I loved business so much, I just couldn't attend classes. Like I was just like missing my lectures, because anytime I'm in for lectures, people call me, oh, can you get me this car? So I'm like, just miss my exams, miss lectures, and that was it. I was into the business. But later on, I now like I was like, oh, I'm not gonna make a life through this, because if I miss my business, like not doing my business and not going for my education and concentrating on business, then when am I gonna get settled? So I just came to the UK where I had no customer at that point in time that was gonna disturb me. So definitely that was right. But you know, with business, you can't just leave it all alone. I started off in the UK, but thank God, like I did my degree and now my masters, I will be done in like a few months. It was just pure determination.
How do you do it? How do you fit? I'm assuming you got to 2-1.
Yeah.
So you've done it well enough. How do you manage them up? This is a full-time job.
It's a full-time job. But what you do is, you know, with your timetable, you get some days free. So what you do on those days, you make sure you satisfy yourself with like your business on that day. What I do, like that day off, I always have my first year, second year, third year. I go to the auctions on those days. Yeah. Then when I go to the auctions on those days, with Saturdays, when I go to the auctions, I buy the cars those days. Then I hold onto those cars. Then the next day I'm free. The next free day, I send it off to the port. So it's basically planning.
Yeah, so it's planning.
Yeah, it's just about planning and timing anyway.
Where do you send them up from? London?
London, yeah, Tuesday.
What would you say you've learned so far in the whole process? Because I'm assuming the Michelle that started at the start isn't the same Michelle we have today.
Yeah, what I've learned so far is diplomacy and patience. And I used to be like a temperamental person. I used to be temperamental, but when I got into business, I learned that you have to be patient with customers to get what you want. Because customers will always like find faults. No matter, even if you get the best product for them, they still have a go. So patience has to come in there, and you have to be diplomatic with the way you do things. One thing I've learned again is punctuality. Like when you need to go get your cars at a particular time. If you don't go there at that time because it's auctions, everybody's open to it. You have a target on a car, and at that time you're supposed to get there. You're not there. Someone else is gonna take the car, and that's you losing business. So that's just it. I've learned to be very patient anyway.
Patience and punctuality. Would you say, is there anything about people's skills, so trying to win people's trust? Because sending a card to someone who you've potentially not met, or people on the phone. This is across continents. How does that work? And obviously, I won't be naive. I know that there's the 419 thing.
Yeah,
so how do you?
I get what you're saying. Most people wouldn't like to give you money, but in South Africa, because my mom is South African, so definitely I could deal with the South African customers because they trust you. Yeah. But what I do, because I know most people would not like to give you the money that you get in the cars. That's why I made the offer of I get your car and I get it to your doorstep, then you get me paid after it's by your doorstep. Because people will feel more assured doing that. But a situation whereby you tell them, okay, can you give me half payment, and then I get people will be quite skeptical doing that. But when you do that for a customer, like you tell the customer, pay me after service. Once you do that to a customer, the customer will now tell other customers. So some customers might just give you the money in like Yeah. So
Do you have return customers? Do you have some people who buy their cars, who have been buying cars from you for the past? So they say they bought their first car,
Yeah.
then they wanted to buy for their son, so they bought from you.
I have a man in South Africa who's been my customer for a long time, and I think I've bought him like 6 cars so far, which is based on trust. Once they trust you, then
Okay. How much is the average car?
what do you mean by average?
Oh, so if someone is trying to work out, what sort of cars do you export? Are they high end? Are they low end? Are they middle range?
Initially, I started with big cars. I started with a Jaguar because I felt that's why it's good at times. You have to like make your feasibility study, which I made a mistake at the initial stage. I started with the Jaguar, like because the Nigerian market they don't do Jaguar. Do you understand? So I'm like, okay, let me get something unique to that market, something they don't really have. So when I started with that, I sent it to Nigeria, but it was the greatest mistake of my life because people did not buy it because they look at it like a luxurious car, and 2, you don't have the good mechanics to fix that car, and the road is not that good for them to use cars like that. So after I made that, I learned from that mistake, and I went to America to get Honda. And with the Honda I got, the first Honda I got to send to Nigeria, I made triple the price of what I bought. So you see, like I lost in the Jaguar and I made profits with the Honda. So it's all about like knowing what fits for each country, for a country you're dealing with.
So do you sell all types of cars?
I sell all types.
All types, okay.
But no, I wouldn't take a Vauxhall to Nigeria, for example, because they don't know about Vauxhall. But I do more of Hondas, Toyotas, Golf, but more of Golf in the South African market, and more of Toyota in the Toyota Honda in the Nigerian market.
Okay. So is it fair to say your business model is demand driven? So somebody has to telephone you and ask for a car before you go and look for a car, or do you buy and keep and then sell out?
Initially I started with like buying to a customer's demand. Like when a customer demands, then I buy. But as time went on, like if I go to the auctions and see like a good car, I wouldn't need to wait for a customer to call. So I buy the car, I keep it till I get the market for it. So it's both ways. Because if you do it one way, like waiting for the customer's demand, you might not get a customer to ring you for like a long time.
Right.
But if you have your car available and they see it, so it depends. Customers are quite different.
Okay. People say that you have to be a certain type of person to run a business, especially a business like cars. Do you think this is true?
It depends on what you mean by a certain...
Oh, so a certain type of personality. For example, I know you, you know me. Some people will say I should never run a business because I'm too nice. Or some people will say if you're impatient, or if you're lazy, or if you're not a morning person, or if you're not an evening person.
I don't agree with that, because being nice, you have your own market of being nice. If you're nice, some people would like to patronize you just because you're nice. And at times you have to be like very rigid, like you have to be very, very strict, because some customers try to take like advantage. So if you're rigid and strict, but I believe most strict people make more money in business, because if you're nice, some customers will take advantage of you, but at times most customers will love you because you're nice. It depends. I'm not being funny, but some countries you have to be strict. Some countries you have to be nice. If you're strict with some countries, I'm not gonna like mention like countries, but what I could say is in the UK, for example, you have to be nice to succeed in business. Do you understand what I mean? You have to be nice because the customers love you for being nice. because they won't come back to you if you're strict. But some countries, you have to be strict because if you're not strict, they take advantage of you. Where you have fraud, some people do fraud and stuff like that. So you have to, with countries like that, you have to be very strict. So that's it.
Okay. Before I go to what advice you'd have for business startups, I'll say, so you are into car, clothing and property.
Property, yeah.
Yeah. Does this business have a name at the moment?
Yeah. It's I don't have my business card at the moment, but it's called Mitch's Place.
Mitch's Place.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. All right. So, do you have any advice for people who want to start a business?
What I would say is, if you're going into a business, be very, 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 very sure. Like they say, business is a risk. It's not just like a theory thing; it's a practical thing. Business is a risk. The reason why I came to do international business is to learn about business, and what I learned in international business really. It's practical because, for example, they taught us about I wouldn't know, maybe people will understand that. It's called the OLI theory, where you have an ownership advantage, location, and internalization. Your ownership advantage, you have to have a brand. If you don't have a brand, you can't go into business. Your location, are you sure your brand will be accepted where you're going? I wouldn't take a Jaguar to Nigeria again, because I know the people won't accept it. So your location advantage also has to be there. Your internalization, like the people supplying you, how are you able to make sure your business is not being imitated? Do you have that in place? So definitely, once you can put all this into understanding the theory of doing business, international business, then you'll be fine. But
so you're saying before you start a business, make sure you know what you're going to do and prepare and read and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what if I can't do international business now because I'm in my first year of university, but I want to start a business now? What do I do?
Yeah, business is just innovation. If you're innovative, trust me, you can start any business. I know someone that made a lot of money from just toothpicks. Toothpicks, just toothpicks. So it's just for you to be innovative. Just go somewhere, sit down and think. What can I do? What do these people need? Like I'm sitting here, I could watch them and say, oh, they're having a cup of coffee, a cup of tea. What can I add to that will make them more? I could just go think of, okay, I could make a magazine, because they're gisting and make a magazine, put it there, and they buy it while gisting, they read and they share it with themselves. So it's about being innovative. So it's just ideas. Anybody could wake up and do business, but business is a risk anyway.
Okay. Thank you very much. The magic question, the one we always love to ask at the end of all interviews. Do we get a student discount when we order a car?
We can't business, I don't think. They get student discount, but as a student, you can't tell me you want a Jaguar because you want a discount. So I'm not, if you can afford a Jaguar, why should I give you a discount?
That's a true businessman speaking that, but yes, thank you very much.